Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Judy Murdoch, and I hope I pronounced your name right. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine for a Monday, thanks.
Wow, I'm so happy that you agreed to our interview, and I would love to introduce you to the audience, of course. You are a coach and owner of Marketing Root Work, specializing in helping creative, mission driven business owners use word of mouth marketing to increase customer referrals. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast, Judy Murdoch.
Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you so much. My first question to you is, how can word of mouth marketing be leveraged to attract your ideal customers authentically?
Okay, that's good. That's a good question. So, sorry about that. So, word of mouth marketing is really the oldest, perhaps the original form of marketing. It is something human beings like to do. We like to tell each other about things that are new and interesting and wonderful. And in the case of creative businesses and mission driven businesses, they often happen to be also what I would call higher touch businesses where trust and who you are and the way you show up in the world is very, very important. So the thing that I really like about using word of mouth marketing is word of mouth marketing is very personal. It is really entirely based on getting in touch with people, establishing relationships, cultivating relationships, and yes, encouraging people to send you referrals. But also keeping in mind the fact that people like to give referrals. It feels really, really good. So it's not a burden to give a referral. Actually, it's delightful to give a referral. It is delightful to receive customers via a referral. So my preference usually is rather than putting a lot of time and attention into virtual marketing and virtual communication to first focus on the in-person communications, because I think that gives you a lot more. It's far more effective, and it just gives you a lot more mileage in terms of the influence of the the marketing and the effort that goes into it.
Wow, I love what you shared. Thank you so much. That it is important to meet in person. Of course, again, this is possible. Again, we had this time everyone was building their online presences and profiles, whatever it is. And you
Mhm.
mentioned mouth to what was it? Word to mouth marketing?
Word of
No,
mouth.
yeah.
Word of
So,
mouth. Yeah.
as oldest form of marketing, of course, there were times without World Wide Web. We remember this 30, 40 years ago. 30, I would say. I remember this. And of course, we go back to when I think of fireplaces or how is it called?
A
Fire.
campfire.
It's campfire, and you tell stories, and you can
That's
tell
right.
stories about what you witnessed in the village, in the neighbor town or whatever, and then you recommend something that was good for you, of course. And what would you say is the difference between, because I know different words like direct marketing,
Mm.
direct selling, network marketing. What is the difference?
What is the difference? Okay, so I think you used the phrase or the term network marketing, right? Okay.
Mhm.
Word of mouth is a way of communicating. I see network marketing more as a particular marketing structure. You can actually use word of mouth marketing in network marketing. So when I think about network marketing, I can't think of like one of the more popular. I actually a few years ago joined a network marketing organization called Send Out Cards. And in these organizations typically I joined specifically because I really liked the product and service because I personally really like sending people cards. Um, Network marketing is a situation where the more like kind of the more people you have working for you, if you will, it's basically a sales organization, the more money you make because you are receiving a commission based on what people in your I forgot what they call that, but like your lower report, when they sell, you earn money. So the more people you have selling, the better off you do. That is not my favorite that's not my favorite structure for for having a business. I know it works really well for some people, and if it does, that's great. But that's not really my thing. You can use word of mouth marketing. People in network marketing often do. I mean, a lot of it is you go to networking meetings, you introduce yourself. Often the hope is that they will become the person you talk to will become interested and they will become part of your down report, if you will. So word of mouth marketing is more a way to get the information out as opposed to like a structure.
Yeah. I understand. It's not so what you described was the channel. How is it communicated? And network
That's correct.
marketing describes the business organization, the structure. I understand. Okay, next question for you. Thank you so
Okay.
much for explaining. This is why we are here to learn, to educate, right? What strategies can mission-driven businesses use to generate more customer referrals?
Okay. So I love this question. So the reason I love this question is generally speaking, if you have a business, I'm going to use the example of coaching because coaching is something I'm very familiar with. And let's say that you've been a coach for maybe 3, 5 years, something like that, and you have a lot of success stories. You have a lot of people that you have worked with. They've gotten good results. They come. Maybe some people work with you for 5 years. Maybe some people move on, but they move on because they've attained whatever their objectives were. It's why they hired you to begin with. So you have all of these people. I don't know how many people that might be. Let's just say 30 people. It might be more than that, who have had wonderful experiences with you, who love you, and who really want to see you succeed. Because isn't that a lovely thing, right? That we work with businesses and we have sort of a personal relationship with those businesses, and we want to see the business thrive. Oftentimes, what happens is we make an assumption that because we do amazing work, people will be just naturally running around out there saying like, oh my God, you should check her out. She's amazing. She's wonderful. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. I happen to be a very connector type of person. I give tons of referrals because that's the way I'm just wired that way. I like giving referrals. Um, Most people, although they like giving referrals, it feels really good. People forget, people get distracted. It's just not top of mind, which means that if I am this coach with lots of happy clients, I need to be really specific and clear and deliberate in asking people for referrals, which is something that you don't think you need to do that, but actually, as I said, because people forget, they get distracted, they simply don't think in connector terms. It's important to actively and deliberately tell people, hey, I have openings, I have some openings in my practice, and I would love if you meet somebody who you think would be a really good client for me, send them my way.
Yes, I love that. I heard it before. It's not like is it something for you? Yeah, it is because the person was already your client, of course, and then you get referrals from your clients and you mentioned recommendations like reviews as well, and that you love to give them as
Yes.
well. And yeah, and I would assume because you use this word assumption that when you give referrals, you do this first. So you give first and then you receive also from other people, right?
Yes. And It's an interesting thing, because I think word of mouth marketing, to, like, I guess, understand it or really use word of mouth marketing successfully, you really need to have a pretty good level of what I would call emotional intelligence, meaning you so in terms of what you had just talked about, which is reciprocity, right? And human beings have a natural desire usually to reciprocate. When somebody does something nice for you, you generally want to find a way to do something nice for them as well. And the way I talk about it is that you can ask people to send you referrals. Like, well, if you send them somebody, like, you can certainly ask them to send you somebody as well. In my case, honestly, I don't expect reciprocity. I don't require it. I will ask for it. So, like, I too do a podcast, and when I have podcast guests, I always ask them to please, like, part of being a podcast guest is I would really like you to promote to your following so that we can grow our mutual followings. But I am also very careful to say this type of thing in a light way, to make it clear that I would like this. It's a request. It is not a command. Like, if you don't do it, it doesn't mean we're not friends anymore. Um, so that, I guess, that's the way I would put it. I don't know if I answered your question or not, but was that helpful?
Yes, absolutely, because so it's not a requirement, you said. It's like you offer the idea. How about sharing to your network and we can grow both? Yes,
Yeah.
let's say this, grow our audience and also exchange. It's about, there's another word, I think something like
Mhm.
swap, or I don't know. Yes, but I agree with you totally that it doesn't have to come from the same person. So you can get referrals also from someone you didn't give anything, you know?
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
you
So
never know.
mhm.
And that's one thing that I do tell people when people ask me, well, who are referral sources? Honestly, anybody who knows and likes you and is familiar with your work, so they have that credibility. All of those people are referral sources. I mean, really, anybody is a referral source technically. Um, the more they know you, the more direct experience they've had working with you, the more experience they've had getting results working with you, the better a referral source they are, because they can speak to those things. But anybody's a referral source. You're a referral source. I'm a referral source, right?
Yes, a source and also a resource. Maybe sometimes without knowing it, we have people in our network and we can share or introduce to other people,
Right.
and we don't know what the impact will be or the outcome or if there are collaborations. I love this concept. Thank you so much for
Yes.
clarifying, of course, the
Yes.
differences. Yes.
Likewise.
Mhm. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I like it too.
Okay.
One other
Mhm.
thing I will say about referrals, which makes them special, or referrals recommendations, you can use whatever word you feel comfortable using. Um, the thing that is really powerful about referrals and recommendations is people do not get paid to make them. Now, like, that is not absolutely black and white. There are gray areas like affiliates. Affiliates are kind of a referral and kind of a, basically pay for action type of a thing. But the real power comes from in a referral comes from the fact that the person who's making the referral is doing so because they had a really good experience with you, and they trust that the person they're sending your way is going to have a good experience too. Therefore, they will look good and they will feel good. And that's a really basic human need or desire. We all want to look good. We all want to look at, like, it feels good, like, oh, I'm the resource person, oh, I connected them. It feels good. You made something really good happen. So it's a win the whole way round. And like, if you want to use word of mouth marketing, generally speaking, it is not a pay for play kind of a thing. People do it generally to look good. Now, it doesn't mean you don't give them a nice gift or a handwritten thank you card, season tickets for, the football season or something, if it's like a really big piece of business. But there is no expectation of being paid for giving a referral. And that's a really important factor. It's the reason referrals are so powerful.
Yes, I love that too. And I can share with you that I was introduced to that concept of networking. I call it networking because I wrote it in a book. No, I read it in a book, and it was in January about networking. So it's
Mhm.
new to me. I start this. So thank you so much for explaining this to me. Yes, I have another question, of course. How can creative entrepreneurs connect with their audience without relying on conventional marketing?
So when you say connect with audiences, are you talking about like newsletter subscribers, like just anybody who's following them, that type of thing?
I thought of audience in on stages when you speak
Oh,
on stages or on podcasts.
yeah. I mean, all of the above. I'm a huge proponent of doing any kind of speaking, presenting, teaching. I really enjoy that personally, which is why I like to be a guest on podcasts. But I also love to speak as well. Both ways are, especially, like, let's go back to this coaching example. So when you're a coach or you're a healer or you are somebody with whom the quality of the interaction and who you are as a person really, really figures in a great deal in terms of how well you're going to work with a particular client or customer. So I am a huge proponent of anything you can do to give people an experience of what it is like to work with you or talk with you. Um, those again, that these are very, very powerful tools. And so you use the phrase conventional marketing, um, which often does not give people that direct experience. I mean, social media has been something that has been really, really popular for nearly a decade now. I I'm not a big proponent of social media. I'm not against it. I just think that social media, unless you absolutely love, love, love being on social media all the time and interacting with people, it is not like any, like, virtual and digital media is not generally giving people a very direct experience of you and how you work, what it's like to work with you. So that is my opinion.
Yes, I understand. It's a difference, and you mentioned it in your first answer. I remember to meet people in person, and what I thought
Yeah.
immediately was about touching. Like we had
Yeah.
this handshake. I don't know if this still exists. We had periods it was forbidden, or we tried to
COVID,
break.
right?
Yes, but it didn't work, but because I think it's still
Mm,
important because
agreed.
you seal contracts with the handshake,
Yep.
right? You can do this, or you did this in the past, of course. Thank you. You answered my question, and I love that you choose the coaching, and there was another one, healing
Healing. Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
Yes, and my question about your coaches. Do you have coaches and mentors for yourself? And who was the best coach you ever had?
Wow. What a great question that is. Oh my goodness. I have had a lot of coaches over, I have been working with coaches since I knew that there was such a thing as coaches. So probably 30 years. I'm thinking something like that, a long time. Um, and I have had some really, really great coaches. I'm going to give a shout out to the woman I'm currently working with, Suzanne Kohlberg. She's called the Nope Coach. She has a podcast as well, and she lives in Australia. And I'm currently working with Suzanne, and I love working with her. She has been an inspiration, and she's very direct, but she's also very kind. And I'm doing quite well because of the work that I am doing with her.
Wow, I love your answer. Thank you so much. And this emphasizes also the importance to allow yourself to have a coach. Some people are
True.
not coachable or resistant, or they don't know the concept, they are doubting. Yes. So thank you so much for sharing. And my last question, I think it is about your goals and intentions. Do you set
Ah,
goals or intentions? And what is one of your next projects?
okay. So I am in the process of creating a self-study, kind of a mini workshop. So it will be something that people can go through, and it will teach them the basics. So my intention is that they can go through this workshop, and they will have enough information and enough sort of clear instructions for practices that they can put some of these word of mouth marketing ideas into action for their own organization or business. So that's one thing I'm doing. And the second thing I'm doing is I'm going to be launching a one-on-one coaching program in 2025. And my main interest actually is really to kind of test proof of concept. So I really want to see I would just like to, see some clients really putting these things into action, and it also helps me do about, I guess, like I don't want to use the word perfect. That's not the right word, but I think just to improve my own coaching program. So, I mean, my focus is always on how can I help people get results and how can I help them grow their businesses.
Wow, I love your answer. Thank you so much. And I have one little question.
Of course.
In addition, before we close with your last thoughts to the audience, it is when people reach out to you, and please reach out to Judy. She's amazing. Where can we find you?
All right. So the best place to find me is currently on Substack. So it's just Substack/Judy Murdoch, Murdoch, because people often spell it with a K. And that is where I like to hang out. I am a writer and I love to write. I always have lots of ideas and thoughts I like to share with people. And I love when people, when they interact with me and engage. I love when people ask me questions or have a comment or push back on something. Um, that's, I love interacting with people in general. That's one of the things that delights me.
Wow, thank you so much. Now I'm encouraged to write you on Substack.
Please do.
Yeah, of course. And please reach out to Judy. She's amazing. We heard now where we can find her. And now it's time for your last thoughts to the audience, please.
Okay. My very last thoughts. My very last thoughts are, of course, I am biased, but human beings, we are human. We are basically hunter gatherers living with really advanced technology. So, in a lot of ways, we are not so different than we were 10,000 years ago, living in small tribes and herding animals and that sort of a thing. So, as human beings, we still really place a lot of emphasis and importance on, as you said, touching somebody's hand, being in person with another person. If that person is in Germany and I'm in the United States, being able to see them, at least see them by video, right? So human beings just love that. And so it's the reason I'm so fond of word of mouth is I just feel again that like it's the most satisfying and influential way for us to meet with other people. And I use this word influence, but it really comes down to, from my perspective, it's about wins for everybody. It's all about mutual benefit. And that's something that it's a really kind of a fundamental value in my business is mutual benefit. So those are my last thoughts.
Oh, thank you so much. I take this word mutual benefit. It's so important.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. I enjoyed our interview
likewise. Thank you so much.
and see you in the next episode.